Hey, here we are with 2 readings left. This is reading 17. Marty's on his way home, remember? Closer I got to home, though, the bigger the grin on my face. And when I burst into the kitchen, I got a smile from ear to ear. So I'm just wondering, how was Mom and Dad react? Might not be good, but then they might be happy too. We'll find out. Dad's having his coffee, and Ma's in the living room listening to the Sunday morning service by Brother Jonas. She watches him every Sunday at 7, which tells me what time it is already. Where you been? Says Dad. I can tell Ma's paying attention too. You up and gone? Got you worrying. I slide into my chair and almost have to push my cheeks in to keep the smile from going all the way around my head. This is so cool. Went to see Judd Travers, I say, still breathless, and I'm buying his dog. Ma gets up and comes to the kitchen doorway. What? Thought he wasn't selling, said Dad, looking at me hard. He wasn't, but I talked to him into it. He needs help around his place, and he says if I work hard for him for 20 hours at $2 an hour, that will pay the $40 he wants for Shiloh. Ma's smile, whoa, Ma's smile, getting broader by the minute. I don't believe it, she says. Shiloh's yours? Well, not yet, but he will be, and we don't have to take him over to Judd's. Before I get the last word out, she's got her arms around me, squeezing the breath out of my chest, almost. I think Shiloh can smell Judd Travers on me. He can smell the deer blood, too, and I know by the way he sniffs at my shoes. But finally, he just can't stand it no more. He's joyful I'm back, and he's licking me, welcoming me home. My Dad's still studying my face. Can't figure it, Marty. Judd seemed pretty definite about keeping that dog. What was said between you two? I really didn't want to lie no more, and if I tell Ma and Dad everything except about the deer, that's lying by omission, Ma says, not telling the whole truth. But if I tell about the deer after promising Judd that I wouldn't, well, then I would have lied to Judd, and rather lie to Judd than my folks, but figure it this way. Dad wouldn't report Judd even if he saw him shoot a deer doe out of season, because that's just the way it's always been around here. That don't necessarily make it right, of course, but with him feeling that way, nothing's going to change if I do tell about Judd and the deer, and because I promised not to, I don't. Right now, the most important thing to me is Shiloh. Today, I wasn't going to give Shiloh back no matter what. I told him I wasn't going to give Shiloh back no matter what, I tell Dad. And they're sure staring at me now. Him and Ma. You said that to Judd Travers, Dad asked? Scooting back in his chair. Only thing left to say, only thing I could think of to do, I hadn't already tried, was going to tell him he'd have to take me to court and I'll tell the judge how he kicked his dogs, but didn't have to go that far. Guess he just needs help around his place. Ma turns to Dad. You know, I think it's because Shiloh was hurt. I think he figures that the dog will never be what it was, and that's why he was willing to let it go. Figured he got to get rid of a lame dog, and best of the bargain too. That's what I figure, I say. And at last, Dad begins to smile. So we got ourselves a new member of the family, he tells me. And that's about the nicest thing I heard said in this house my whole life. And then Becky and Daryl Lynn wakes up, sad face, because they think we have to take Shiloh over to Judd's. I tell him the news. And Daryl Lynn, she starts dancing. Becky joins in and whirling herself around. And then Shiloh, smiling his dog smile, everybody whooping and carrying on. Ma turns off the TV and makes waffles with a big pat of margarine in the center of each one and hot homemade brown sugar syrup filling the plates. She even makes a waffle for Shiloh. We're going to make that dog sick if we're not careful. Now all we got to worry about is how we can afford to feed him as well as ourselves, Dad says finally. But there's food for the body and food for the spirit. And Shiloh, sure enough, feeds the spirit. We about pet Shiloh to death, and every time he turns around, someone's got a hand on him somewheres. And I take him out for his first gentle run since he's been hurt. And once up on the hill, him running free, the good feeling inside me grows bigger and bigger, and I have to let it out. I hunch up my shoulders and go, yowl. Shiloh jumps and looks at me. Shiloh jumps back. Yowl, I go again, out of the joy and jubilation the way they do in church. And suddenly, Shiloh joins in with a bark. A bark. Like he's got to be taught how, but it's a happy bark, and he's learning. Only bit of sadness left in me is for the deer. Wondering, too, about whose business it is when someone breaks the law. Wonder if Dad wouldn't never tell Judd no matter what he did. Bet he would. There's got to be times when what one person does is everybody's business. Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I'm waiting on Judd's porch when he pulls up. All his dogs is chained out to the side of the house, and they get to barking like crazy. I don't try to get near them because a chained dog can be mean. I've already restacked Judd's wood pile, but he wants me to do it again and put the big pieces here and the little ones there, and he's looking mean and grumpy like maybe he's disgusted with himself for letting me have that dog so easy. And when I finish the wood pile, Judd hands me the hoe. You see that garden? I nod. You see that corn? I want the dirt chopped up so fine I can sift through it with my fingers, he tells me. Now I see what he's getting at. He's going to make it so there's no way I can please him. I'll put in my 20 hours, and he'll tell me my work wasn't no good, and he wants his dog back. I hoe till I got blisters on both hands, sweat pouring down my back. Wish I could do my work in the early morning before the sun's so fierce, but I don't complain. I take off my shirt finally, wrap it around my head to keep the sweat out of my eyes, and I keep on. Shoulders so red now I know they'll hurt worse than anything the next morning, and they do. Next afternoon, Judd sets me to scrubbing down the sides of his trailer and his porch, shining up the windows and raking the yard. He sits on his folding chair in the shade, drinking a cold beer. Don't offer me nothing, even water. And I hate him more than the devil. My mouth is so dry it feels like fur. Third day, though, he puts a quart of water for me when I pick the beans. I bend over them rows so long, dropping the beans into a bucket. I think I'm going to be bent for life. And when I'm through, Judd sort of motions me to the porch like I can sit there if I want while I drink the water. I almost fall onto that porch, glad to be in the shade. Looks like you got yourself some blisters, he says. I'm okay, I tell him, and take another drink. How's Shiloh, he asks. Wow. First time he's called the dog by that name. He's doing fine. Still got a limp, but he eats good. Shiloh lifts his beer to his lips. Would have been a good hunting dog if I could have just kept him home, he says. The other dogs never run off. I think about that a while, and I finally say, well, each one is different. That's the truth. Kick one, and he just goes under the porch for an hour. Kick another, and he goes off and don't come back. Trying my best to think what to say to that. Like, how come he has to get kicked? How come they have to get kicked at all? And then I figure nobody likes to be preached at, no matter how much he needs it. Least of all Judd Travers, who's 30 years old if he's a day. Some dogs, it just makes them mean when you kick them, I say finally. Other dogs, it makes them scared. Shiloh got scared. Never beat my dogs with a stick, Judd goes on. Never did that in my life. I don't say anything right away. Finally, though, I ask, how's your dogs doing? Raring to go rabbit hunting, Judd says. We look over at his 3 dogs, all of them pulling at their chains, snarling at each other. That biggest dog now, Judd goes on, he's the loudest squaller I got. I can tell from the racket whether he's following a fresh trail or an old one. And if he's running a ditch, swimming, or a tree to coon, that's pretty good, I say. Littlest one, he's nothing but a trashy dog. He'll run down most anything, except when I'm after him. Hope the others will learn him something. And the middle dog, well, she gives a lot of mouth too. even barks at dead trees. The dogs were fighting now, and Judd throws his pap can at him. "You all shut up," he yells. "Hush up." And the can hits the biggest dog, and they all scatter. "Don't much like being chained," Judd says. "Guess nobody would," I tell him. That's the end of reading 17, and we've got just one more to go. Wow. And then we'll be at the end. Whoa. So you know what to do. Take out your Google Doc and make your good summary, questions, predictions, feelings, and thoughts. Awesome. See you next time. The last time.